Saints fans, welcome to a special edition of the Predicted 23. We have the bye this week, so there is no team to predict, obviously. So I'm going to do something different this week. I'm just going to predict who is our best 23. Not even predict, I'm just going to say who I think the best 23 is with a fully fit, in-form side. This is something I sort of track through the season at the top of my document as I do the predictions each week. I've had this document for years actually, and it's something that's not set in stone. It changes from round 1 to round 24. And what I think this week, maybe in 3 or 4 weeks, there's a couple changes to it. But and this is just for this year. I'll explain my way as we go. I'm going to have a few stages. I'm going to have like the absolute locks, then the players I think are very likely, then those sort of on the fringe, and we'll talk through it. Obviously, this is going to be very contentious. People have players that they think should be in that aren't. But let us know who is your best 23 in the comments. What changes would you make from my team? I love the discussion around it. So let's do that. And one thing I'm just going to flag beforehand, I didn't pick Alex Taru because he just hasn't played a game yet, and I don't think he is in the best 23 because of that very reason. But round 1 next year, I fully expect he will be, and hopefully he can debut in the coming weeks, and he'll steal someone's spot in there. So that's that. Let's get straight into it and start with phase 1, the absolute locks. I wouldn't think there'd be too many discourse around these 12 players. There was a couple that I was umming and ahhing about, but for the most part, I think these 12 players, you're just going to pick them every week. That is, of course, if they are all in form. And even then, even if these players fall out of form, very unlikely they're going to be dropped anyway. So let's talk through it. Nasai Wanganeen, Malira, Callum Wilkie, Jack Sinclair on the half-back line. I mean, enough said. I don't even need to explain that one. I think everyone gets it. Mason Wood, I think he's certainly a lock. He's just obviously a great player, but a senior leader that I think someone whose shoulder we lean on when we're in need of support, especially in a team that's fielding a lot of youngsters. So I do think he's a lock. Mateus, at his best, he's in the midfield alongside Steele and McRae. So I do think that is our best midfield right there. Bradley Hill, maybe people will think this is not right because he's been in some shaky form lately, but I think a fully firing Bradley Hill is certainly in our side. We traded a lot for him for a reason. He's a fantastic player. Yes, it's been a frustrating pickup in moments. When he's not hitting his targets, whatever it is, the efficiency's down. But Bradley Hill is a fantastic player, and at his best, he's certainly in the side. Mitch Owens, this was one I wasn't sure if he was going to be a lock or a likely, but I thought, the way I think Ross absolutely loves him. His contest work, just everything about him, what he does for us in that forward line. He's a fantastic player. He's a lock for sure. Max King, Jack Higgins. Don't really need to explain that one. Of course, Royal Marshall in the ruck. That's the 12. There's not much to say about them all because I just think they're all locks. So let's move into the next phase then of the very likely. So we'll start from the full back line. Liam Stocker. This is one that, for me, I just think, as long as his form is right, he's healthy, he's in the side, 95 times out of 100 because, or 99 times, because what he brings to the side is crucial. Heart and soul player. I know it's super cliche to say, but if that Liam Stocker is that cliche because that's just how he plays for us and we love it. I think him and Jimmy Webster are a really good pairing for us. Let's talk about Jimmy Webster. He's an interesting one. He's actually the longest tenured Saint, I'm pretty sure. So maybe that counts for something. I don't know, but he's one that, this year he's in the side for sure. He's in our best side, I think, certainly. But, he is getting a bit older. Maybe that's the spot that Taru comes in and takes at some point. I don't know. But I think for now, he's definitely in there. Dougal Howard, I did have him initially in the locks, but I've put him into very likely just for a few reasons. Well, one, he is very likely, but I think with, Keeler and Caminiti starting to come through, potentially that spot is in danger. I wouldn't even say in danger, but there's maybe questions around it. And then as well, there's a lot of questions and a bit of grey area around just his future with the club. He's out of contract, so I don't entirely know what's going on there. But, as of now, if Dougal Howard is fit, he's very likely to be in the lineup. Cooper Sharman, he was also close to being a lock. But I do think, again, Caminiti, Keeler, there's a few players who are looking to take that spot from him if it opens up. But I think, I mean, if he is in form, he's in the side. There's no doubt about that. My issue with Sharman is that his form can be shaky, here and there. I think, what was it, against Freo? He had a fantastic game and then, sort of goes missing the next 2 weeks. So it's, it's one of those things with him. But I think, if he's in form, he's playing for sure. Dan Butler, this is an interesting one for me because I'll admit, before the Melbourne game, he was in the 23, or maybe he was an emergent. He was in the 26 at least. But after that game, I just thought, I think we spoke about it on the podcast. We do forget that in 2020, Dan Butler should have been an All-Australian. And if I'm basing this team around everyone is in their best form, I mean, Dan Butler in his best form is a damn good player. So he's got to be in the side. And I think, maybe a Collard, a Max Hall, it would be nice if a younger player had this spot. But, there's no reason that they can't come and take it from him. But I think as of now, if we are picking, if we make the grand final and it's being played tomorrow, I think, we're picking Dan Butler in that side. So that is, that's that one. And then on the bench, Darcy Wilson. It's, also an interesting one because he's just been dropped, but this is the first bit of down form we've seen from him in his short career. So I do think his best is really good. We've seen it. Gives a chop out on the wing, can run half forward, half back, does a lot for us. And I mean, if you look at his GPS numbers, they're off the charts. He's a Ross Lyon player through and through. And I think in any good form, he's in the side. Anthony Caminiti. Yeah, this is one that I put him on the bench, and maybe people might think, no, he's playing so great, should be on the field. But it's one where I'm I put him on the bench because I don't want to lock him in the back line or the forward line because he can really play either. I prefer him in the back line for sure. I think that's where long term we should be playing him. But just with the state of the side, not so much depth in the forward or back line. I like him as a swing man. Like I said, long term back line I think should certainly be the goal for him. But he's had a fantastic last month or two. Even when the team's been down, he's been playing well. So he's one that if I did this video maybe 6-8 weeks ago, I would not have been picking him in this phase. But he's really proven himself these last few weeks. So I think he's in our best 22. He's very likely to be. And then Marcus Windhager. He's one that we have a lot of players like him, your Garcias, your Boxhalls, but Windy is, I said the Melbourne game may have changed my opinion on some players. That was one of his best games, if not his best game for the club. So, I'm picking him for sure. I like not only is he a tagger for us, he tags, he locks down someone, but then that's just where his game starts. And then he goes and wins the ball from there. That's just a starting point for him. So I don't want to throw the label of tagger on him because, while he does a great job shutting down his opponent, and his opponent is usually one of the best players on the opposition side, he does that and more for us when he's at his best. So, he's in the side for sure. So, time for probably the most contentious part of the video. Let's get into it. The fringe. So, let's talk about it. Liam Henry. I don't know what to say about this one because I know there'll be certain people who think other players should take this spot, and maybe they're right, but I just really do think Liam Henry, at his best, he's in this side. I know he's been, I don't know what's going on with him. He's injured. He's can't get his match fitness right, whatever it is. But I do think a fully fit, in form Liam Henry is in our best side, absolutely. Last year he did some really good things for us. And I haven't forgotten about that. So maybe this will change in the next month or two, depending on how things play out. But I do think Liam Henry is in our best 23. I'm sticking with that. Hunter Clark, another one that he was already in the best 22, but I think that, his performance on the weekend just validated it for me. His best is more than good enough to be in this side. So for him, it's about staying on the park. It's about, obviously getting his health right, but just getting consistent games because it's something he hasn't had, he hasn't had the pleasure of doing for a long time is playing consistent footy. So I think if he can play consistent footy for us, we're going to see what Hunter Clark is really all about. And I'm glad he's kept his spot on the list. He's worked his way through all those injuries. And it looks like maybe he might have just turned a corner. But I do think he is in our best 22. So I've got him taking that last spot on the bench. The substitute, Max Hall. Some people might think he should be in the team, but I think it's fantastic that in the first 11 rounds of the season, Max Hall has worked his way into the best 23. At round 1, I would have had him in the best 30 maybe, but he's really proven himself. He had a few down games here and there, but for the most part, he's been really consistent. Again, on the weekend was fantastic. So I've put him as the sub. So yeah, he's in the best 23, at least, for sure. So there's that. The emergencies. Hugo Garcia, Toby Travalia, Ryan Burns. I think Burnsy is an interesting one. He's played every game for us this year. Similar to Darcy Wilson, I like what he brings with, his run and gun on the wing. He can play multiple positions. Ross clearly likes him a lot. I just think if every player on the list is healthy, he's probably just out of the side. In saying that, the whole list is very rarely going to be fully healthy, so for the most part, he will play. And that's the same with these two other guys. Toby Travalia, people might be frustrated about the fact that he's a top 10 pick and he's not in the side, but, he's got to earn his stripes, and I'm sure he will in the next 2 years. As of now, though, the 23 players I've picked above him, I just think right now, if we're playing the grand final tomorrow, they're the 23 we're picking. But it doesn't mean in 2 years' time he can't work his way in, and I fully expect that he will. And the exact same can be said for Hugo Garcia, who probably at the start of the year actually had him in the best 23, probably taking a Max Hall or a Hunter Clark spot, maybe a Caminiti spot even, or a Windhager. But he's a second-year player. His form is up and down. It's how it's going to be. But to me, he's in the best 24. So like I said, if all it takes is one injury and he's likely to be in, depending on who it is. So those three are all super close. And it just shows that we have good depth, because if any three of those guys were playing, I would have no issues with it. I'd be happy about it. So we do have good depth. Now, I'll do a little bonus phase here. I'll just do so I've got 3 categories here. Next up, close, and developing / depth, because obviously there are some players that I didn't pick who are close, or whatever it is. So let's just talk through them. Next up, players that I think, 27, 28, probably in that best 30 of ours. Alex Taru, I mentioned already. Hugh Boxall is super close. I expect in the next few years he'll be in the best 23. Collard, I really want him to take I don't want to say I want him to take Butler's spot, but I want him to be challenging Butler, Henry, even Higgins of that spot every week. And, all it takes is an injury in the forward line, and Collard's probably the guy that we go to. And he's also had a great year. Keeler, I honestly have probably moved him up 2 categories just from the last 2 weeks. He's been fantastic. So he shows that he can play on both ends of the ground. And yeah, certainly he's someone that we're just going to have to continue to develop. The key position players are a bit of a slow burn, but yeah, he's if Dougal Howard or goes down like we're seeing, he's probably coming into the side. So good job to him. O'Connell, yeah, certainly next up. He's had a great season, debuting, and just I kind of lost my words with him, because to be honest, at the start of the year, Category B rookie, I would have thought, okay, unlikely he'll play one game of AFL, but I mean, he's come in and made a really decent impact, so good on him, and he's some great depth for us. Jones, got that. I like to have a senior player in the depth as well, so that's good for him. And a few injuries in the midfield, he's certainly in. Players who are close but probably aren't quite next up, you'd say Ari Schoenmaker, developing well at Sandy. Jack Carroll played a debut for the club on the weekend and played well. He's only 22 as well, so lots of time for him to get his development right and hopefully squeeze his way into the team. Max Heath, I think, is closing in on a debut sometime this year. I think that'd be great. McLennan's come in and out of the side with a few injuries. He certainly plays. Paddy Dow is a difficult one to see where that's at, just because he's had that long-term injury. So we'll see how he goes when he comes back. Hasty has just been chipping away, played a few AFL games, done well at VFL level as well. And then sort of players who are either developing or just really are depth for us if we're desperate. Harry Boyd, I think, only plays if Marshall's injured, and now probably if Heath is injured too. Heath looks like he's probably ahead of him, but either way, yeah, Harry Boyd is just a depth player for us, and I think Cordy's the same. Maybe he is a bit further up in the pecking order, but with the long-term injury, it's hard to tell with him. And then you've got Barrett, Dodson, Patrick Said, and Eamon Armstrong, all players who we've just recently drafted, so they are just currently developing, and hopefully they can work their way in as the years go on. So yeah, bit of a longer video. I think I talked about every player on the list at some point. So yeah, I'm interested to hear what everyone thinks. Do they agree, disagree with all this? Ultimately, I'm pretty happy with the 23 like that I've listed. If that team was going out to play the Bulldogs next Thursday night, I'd be thinking, yeah, we're a pretty good chance. And if you look at it, there's not many players that are actually out of that side. I think we've got obviously Howard, Stocker might be back, McRae might be back, excuse me. Max King obviously is out. But yeah, those are the four that are only injured. Henry obviously is out of form. So yeah, interesting. We'll see how we go. But yeah, that's the video for the week. I'll be back next week to predict the lineup against the Doggies. Until then, go Mighty Saners.